What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another video. And this video is kind of a preview for the NFL Combine. I'm going to go through a few takeaways that we have so far. Really, this is kind of a preview for what's going to happen Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I'm also going to be talking about the future dates that are important to all NFL teams. So let's get it started. We're going to be looking at a few things that I have taken away so far from a couple of measurements that we've gotten so far. But really, Thursday is when things start to pick up. That's when we get really everything that's going to be happening. You're going to see 40-yard dash times. You're going to see all the numbers. You're going to see interviews. Everything's going to be on television, so you guys will be able to see that as well. That is 4 through 11 p.m. on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And like I said in my other video, every day is a different positional group. I don't have that paper right now to tell you what the positional groups are, but yeah, that's how that's going to work out. Now, let's look at some of my takeaways so far. These are kind of just little things that I thought were interesting. The first one is that, they measured the quarterback hand size, and I guess the quarterback hand size, like the limit is 9 inches. If you have anything under that, like, oh, your hands are too small, the ball might fall out of your hand. Like 9 7/8, I think, is like perfect or something. I don't know. Like it really, I don't think it matters at all. But anyways, Joe Burrow had small hands. He's 6'3" and he has small hands, and he went on Twitter and he said, you know what, he's considering retirement. So everybody, please take this seriously. Joe Burrow might retire, and think about how that will change the draft. No, he's not retiring, guys. That was a joke. Did you get that? I don't know. Either way, he said that on Twitter, and I thought it was pretty funny. But he came in with only 9-inch hands, so his hands were too little. Even though I guess that's the cutoff, but his hands were too little. So I don't know. Anyways, I thought that was pretty interesting and funny. When you look at some of the other quarterbacks where they listed in, we saw Gordon with 9 3/4 hand size. We saw Justin Herbert with 10 inches. He got that big hand. You know who was a meaty hand? Brian Lewerke. All right, I guess if hand size matters so much, this man has a 10 5/8 inch hand. Man, his hand looked like this. My man Brian looked like this. Maybe like that's hurting him when he throws it because his hand, like, it goes around the entire ball. He can't let go of it. Or he's going to be the best quarterback of all time because his hand's so big. But I guess Jordan Love won it because this was 10.5. I don't know. I don't know how you win that. Whatever. Anyways, this is some more Lions news specifically. Matt Patricia was asked about his rush and coverage tactic, right? Because he always says, well, there's got to be a nice little mix there. You got to have a mix of both the pass rush and coverage. And that's really interesting when it comes to our third pick in the draft because we know there's a lot of, you could either go edge rusher or you can go cornerback, mainly Jeffrey Okudah and Chase Young. But there's also other ideas, maybe a defensive line or secondary, right? Where would Matt Patricia go with this? Well, when he was asked about it, he says it really depends on who that cornerback is and who that edge rusher is. He said, if it's an edge rusher and it's Lawrence Taylor, I'm taking Lawrence Taylor 10 out of 10. Forget about the corner. I'm taking Taylor because he's that great. So that's kind of interesting. It really doesn't give us anything away, but I guess it does say if he thinks that Chase Young is a 10 out of 10 player and he's there, don't be surprised if he selects him. If he thinks Jeffrey Okudah is a 10 out of 10 player, then hey, don't be surprised if he selects him. And hey, if you buy into a player and if you really like a player and you draft him, I have no problems with that. Be sure what you want to do and go for it. So hey, if he's sure with someone already and he's like, hey man, I really want Jeffrey Okudah, you do it. I'm not saying he does, but whatever. Do what you want to do, and hopefully it works out. Get in your guys, okay? Because hey, you might be fired at this year. So go out fighting, right? Next up is Tua Tagovailoa. Apparently he's 6 foot tall, so he's too short to be a quarterback. So we shouldn't draft him. That's your reason right there. Yeah. Next up, the wide receiver class. If you don't know how deep it is, just go look it up. It is ridiculous. I thought I would just point this out. This is like one of the most deep wide receiver classes I've ever seen, like with talent. I'm not saying, oh yeah, we got 100 wide receivers in here, but they're all trash. No, they're so good. I mean, you could literally have every pick in the second round be a wide receiver. It's that deep. It's crazy. There's so many options out there, and that's why everybody's looking at this saying, hey, Lions should take a wide receiver this year. So there you go. Now, let's get into a few dates. I thought I would point these out because I think some people aren't really sure when things happen. It also helps me out because I had to look them up too. But I'm going to go through some of the exact dates and kind of tell you guys when things happen. I actually have to pull it up over here. This makes it a little bit easier for you to understand when things are going to go down, I guess. So let's get into it. All right, first off, March 10th is the deadline for teams to designate franchise or transition players. March 16th through 18th is when it's legal to tamper. So basically, that's when you get to talk to some of the free agents, stuff like that. Like, you're not going to give them, an offer right there, but you can tamper, you can do stuff like that. March 18th, teams must exercise options for 2020 on all players who have the option clauses in their 2019 contracts. On March 18th as well, teams must submit qualifying offers to their restricted free agents with expiring contracts to retain a right of first refusal compensation. As well as March 18th, teams must submit a minimum salary tender to retain exclusive negotiating rights to their players with expiring 2019 contracts who have fewer than 3 accrued seasons of free agent credit. Also on March 18th, Top 51 rule begins. Every team must be under the 2020 salary cap, only counting the top 21 salaries on a 90-man roster. As well, on March 18th, first day of the new league begins at 4 p.m. New York time. So free agency opens. So 16th through 18th, they can start doing tampering. But at 4 p.m. on the 18th, that's when you can start offering the free agent. That's when you can start trying to sign guys. So, yeah, that's how that works out. March 19th through April 1st is when we have the annual NFL meetings. So this is when, they'll all meet together and they're going to talk about possible rule changes and what could happen. Remember when we did the pass interference stuff? That all happens during that time. So there you go. April 6th, teams that hired a new coach will get to start working on their offseason programs. Those teams are the Cowboys, the Giants, the Panthers, the Browns, the Redskins right now. They get to start early. Remember, Matt Patricia used to start a little bit early, and he said it was a good thing. I guess it didn't work out because we were bad, but, well, I guess we were a little bit better. We were better than last year. But I will say that they get to start a little bit earlier. I believe it's 2 weeks earlier, which is fair. Their new coaches are trying to get everything set up, so I think that's fair. April 17th is the deadline for restricted free agents to sign offer sheets, so that's the deadline. They get to decide then. April 20th, teams with returning head coaches may begin offseason workout programs. That's when everybody gets to start with their offseason program, and that's when everything starts getting rolling, because then on April 23rd is that day. Through the 25th, we have the NFL draft, and then from there on out, it's all find out who's going to make the roster, signing contracts, preseason, and we're getting going. So hopefully that cleared up a few things. I'm sorry if I stuttered a few times. I don't know what's wrong with me right now. I just ate some food. I don't know. Anyways, hopefully that helped you out. Like I said, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I have way more to talk about the combine, but this was kind of a preview to be excited for that. Thank you, Prep, for watching, and I'm out.